Dead Rising 3 skews into much darker territory, and while it still does contain a lot of the elements of a Dead Rising game, it feels very much like its own thing. You start this title off playing as Nick Ramos, exploring a quarantine zone to see if you're able to escape the city. Nick and his boss Rhonda take refuge in her garage. Nick meets an old friend of his named Diego, and Diego then reveals that he has a plane that needs repair. Nick unfortunately gets bitten and then sets off to find Zombrex to prevent himself from turning, as well as getting fuel and various parts to fix the plane. Dead Rising 3 has a very dark and grungy aesthetic to it, looking very different from the more cartoony style of the previous games. The map that you get to explore in Dead Rising 3 is huge. Using vehicles plays a much bigger part of this game as you need to travel larger distances. There's still a timer, however, it's extremely forgiving. The survivor AI is very much improved, with most of the survivors who will join you being able to handle themselves easily. Combo weapons make a huge return with literally dozens of recipes. There's a ton of different options to play around with and see what works for you. Combo vehicles is a new feature that was added to this title, where Nick, as a mechanic, can combine various different cars and the like into much more powerful versions. Leveling up now rewards you with points, which can be spent on this screen to pick the perks that you want to upgrade. Dead Rising 3 is also unique in the series in that it technically contains some content and mechanics that can't be accessed anymore. You'll be prompted to use the Xbox Smart Glass app, which allow you to open up these supply boxes and even had a few unique story missions. You did this by running the app on your phone while playing, and you unlocked new missions and tasks by picking up these app updates in-game. As you've probably guessed though, the Xbox Smart Glass app was retired years and years ago, and it does not run on a modern phone. Dead Rising 3 also has a fair amount of DLC to play through. The first is a group of missions called Untold Stories, which dive into the backstories of various semi-important characters who pop up throughout the main game. The problem with this DLC though is that it really excels at making you spend way too long playing as extremely insufferable people that you don't really care about. The second DLC pack seems to have only been released on Xbox. In this game mode, you can pick from 4 playable characters, and then you're given small missions in various locations throughout the city, like destroying bombs or rescuing people. There are power-ups that you can pick up, coins, a score, super moves, and a live announcer commentating over all of it. All in all, Dead Rising 3 can be a lot of fun to play, but across the board, there's also a lot of areas where it fails. The vast array of combo weapons is pretty cool. The improved survivor AI is nice to have, but the missions to get these followers generally weren't that great. While the game tries to tie into the larger Dead Rising story at the end, it ends up feeling a bit tacked on. The DLC also did really little for me, and if anything, it brought the game down. It can be a lot of fun in the right context, but plenty of the core concepts that make up a Dead Rising game have been changed so much that it loses a lot of the charm and silly nature of the previous games.